Hey, how's it going, YouTube? I'm Sean from Start to Finish Gaming, and today we begin a brand new series. Yes, it's ARK Survival Evolved here on the Xbox Series X. I am extremely excited to get this series started. I hope you guys are too. Before we get into this episode, though, guys, have a happy holidays, have a Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. I hope your holidays are happy and safe. On top of that, guys, just want to thank you guys for all your support on this channel. We are currently at 350 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. I never would think that this channel would grow by that much. 2020 overall for this channel has been absolutely awesome. I want to thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you so much for all the comments, likes, the feedback, all of it. Thank you so much. We've had a lot of success on this channel in 2020, and I can only imagine and only hope how crazy big this channel is going to get in 2021. But today's episode, like I said, we're going to start out the brand new series. This is going to be episode 0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through all of my settings. I'm going to go through my reasonings behind my settings. We're going to create the character. We're going to do all the nitty-gritty at this point. I'm going to let you know kind of my game plan with this series, what I would like to accomplish with this series, and pretty much just go from there. Just get everything out in the open in one nice and clean episode, and then we can begin the fun stuff in the next episode. But this is the startup screen, guys, so if you have not actually played the game before, my suggestion is first, click these two links here. These are two different trailers. The first one here is to watch the trailer for the animated series. It's a great watch, honestly. It's 2.5, 3 minutes long. It's nothing crazy. But at the same time, ARK rewards you by giving you an animated series raptor costume skin. It's actually pretty nice. I did cover it when it first came out, and I wasn't too thrilled with it, but I'm gonna be honest, it has grown on me, and I'm really excited to not only get the raptor skin, but also once we get our first raptor, throw it on there and begin our adventures here on ARK. On top of that, check out this trailer too. This is the ARK 2 trailer. Again, great watch. It's like 2.5, 3 minutes long, and the game rewards you with Santiago's spear and axe skins, which we'll go over once we get into the game. They look incredible, though. So let's get into everything. Let's get all ready to go. Obviously, this is going to be a single-player series, so we're going to go to host local, okay? Now, I already have some settings and everything here. I'm going to actually wipe all of my settings because we're going to walk through each and every setting that I want to change, and I'll explain my reasoning why I did that and yada yada. So let's do that. We're back to default settings. First things first, difficulty level. Difficulty level right now is at 0.2. Now what that means is your highest level wild dino that you will find on the map, I believe, is level 30. This makes the game really easy, honestly. We don't want that. We want it as difficult as we can. We're going to crank this up to 1.0. Now, on console, 1.0 is the most we can do, unfortunately. This is our cap. This is our ceiling. This is it. On PC, if you go into your INI files, I believe you can change the difficulty level higher than 1.0. Moving down the list, we're not going to touch any of these, including XP multiplier. In the beginning, you do get a lot of XP quickly, so if you do want, you can even knock this down in the beginning to like 0.5 if you want, because you will see, right, when we get into the game, we're going to level, we're going to get 3 or 4, I would say probably the first 10 levels in the first 5 minutes. It's just that quick on 1.0. So if you do want a little bit slower of an experience, do 0.5 for the beginning, probably for your first 20 levels. But for now, I'm going to keep that all the same. All this resistance, damage, and stuff, I'm going to keep it as vanilla as possible with the series. Taming speed. Taming speed is a little interesting here, because ARK came out with an update a couple months ago that changed experience, it changed taming speed and everything like that. So the old 2 times taming speed is now 1 time, so everything is kind of doubled in a sense. So I'm going to put my taming speed at 4.0, which means if you're going by the old ARK ways, we're looking at about 8 for taming speed. This is kind of, I feel like this is kind of a happy medium where we do get, it takes a while to tame your dinos, but at the same time, I'm not sitting here for 6.5 hours waiting for a parasaur to wake up, okay? So I feel like 4.0 is actually pretty good. We're going to stick with that. Obviously, during the series, if there are any changes, I will go over that and whatnot with you guys too, just to keep us all in the loop of what's going on. If there are a lot of changes throughout the series, I'll probably end up doing a new video and just wiping this one and restart. You know what I mean? Like, I'll update this thing. But for now, 4.0 is kind of the happy medium. We'll see how it goes, though. We could always adjust if need be. Damage cooldown, we're not going to touch. This basically is if a dino hits your wall or anything like that, you literally have to wait 180 seconds in order to fix it, which is 3 minutes, so we're not going to bother with that. Dino turret damage, I'm not going to touch. Dino harvesting damage, I will move a little bit, and it's not significant. This is just a me thing. It's at 3.2. If you guys have watched my previous series or anything like that, I need it to be 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, and if there's a decimal in there, 0.5. I don't like seeing this 3.2. I'm going to change it to 3.5. Now, you guys might be asking, how much of a difference does this make? So, for example, if we have a stego, right, 3.2 to 3.5 literally gives us maybe like 6 more berries. It does nothing to us. So don't worry, this doesn't break the game or anything like that. This is just a me thing, okay? Harvest amount, this is specifies the scaling factor for yields from all harvesting activities. So chopping down trees, picking berries, all that kind of stuff. For now, I'm going to put that at 2.5. I'm kidding. I'm just going to put it at 2 for right now. We could always adjust this and whatnot, too. Basically, I want to give myself a little bit more resources with each tree and everything like that, because I don't want to chop down 35 trees just to make one wood foundation, if that makes sense. You know what? I'm going to change this, actually. 2.5 is probably going to be a little bit better. Like I said, we could always scale it back if need be, but 2.5 in harvest amount should be pretty good, especially when we get into building crazy bases and stuff like that. I don't want to take 15 days to make a base, in other words. So, moving on. Character water drain, food drain, stamina drain, all this is vanilla. We're going to keep this all the same. Again, I'm going to try to make this as vanilla as possible, but there are going to be adjustments along the way. Now, dino count, if you're on console, keep this at 1.0. Do not move this or anything like that. If you're on PC, you can adjust this, I believe, in your INI settings. Beware, though, this will cause major lag if you're doing a server or anything like that. 1.0, though, it's just basically, it's going to spawn the most amount of dinos that it can on the map at all times. If you reduce this, less dinos. So, we want more dinos. We want more of a chance of finding that 145, that 150 dino. I'm going to keep it as high as possible. Now, coming down the list here, there's a few things that are already, like, checked off, like allow third-person camera. Cool, I'll just keep that. Notify player joined is automatically, by default, clicked on. Now, this is a single-player series. There's no way that any of you guys are ever going to be able to get into my world, if you will. If you do, though, if you somehow figure out how to hack the system and get in, it notifies me that you joined, so you're going to be kicked out anyways. But, yeah, anyways, moving on. Enable crosshairs. I'm going to keep this on. So if you ever use a spear or anything like that, you'll see that little plus sign kind of in the middle of your screen. It just gives you a crosshair, just so you kind of know where you're aiming, where you're shooting, yada yada. Force no HUD, I'm going to keep off. Now, if you guys do want a more immersive experience playing the game, turn this off. The idea is that on the right-hand side, you're always going to see your food level, water level, weight level, all of that. If you turn this off, if you keep it disabled, you will not get any of that. So it's a more immersive experience where you don't know how much food or anything you have, just like real life, honestly. It's not like we have a HUD on our right-hand side, you know what I mean? So if you want immersive experience, click that. That's definitely a helpful one. Disable loot crates? Heck no, we need loot crates for the series, so I'm not going to touch that. Hardcore mode is interesting. I am not going to do this. This would be a love-hate relationship with this game, and I honestly love this game, and I don't want to get to the point that I hate this thing, so I'm not going to click this. If you guys don't know, hardcore mode, basically, you get 1 life. If you die, if you're level 100 going up against the Overseer, and you die on the tech cave, that's it. Your game's wiped. You start over. If you go up against any of the bosses and die, That's it. You're back to square one. It takes you back to the screen, and that's it. I'm not going to do that. That would be absolutely insane. I'm not going to bother with that, but I could only imagine if people want a very, very, very challenging one, click it. And let me know how it goes, honestly. Moving down, PvE mode. I will be switching between PvE and PvP at different times. In the beginning, this will be PvP. There's a few reasons behind that. The benefits of PvE is, once you get to cryopods, typically if you throw a cryopod out, you typically have about a 300-second wait time in order to throw out the next one. If you throw out another cryopod within that 300 seconds, your dino gets cryo sickness, which is pretty much passed out, and it takes a stupid amount of damage against it if something attacks it. If you do PvE, like if I click this, I have no cooldown on my cryo. I can throw out 20 Therazinos right away. Bam, 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 bam. No repercussions, no nothing. I also believe that it has to do with building too. With PvP, you should be able to build anywhere on the map, regardless where it is, essentially. In PvE, you cannot build near loot drops. So there's like a specific radius around the loot drop that they will not specifically allow you to build in. So you just can't farm loot drops, essentially. But we're in single player. It doesn't make that much of a difference. For now, I'm going to disable it. We're going to be in PvP mode for the time being. I always turn this on, disable friendly fire. God forbid if by mistake I shoot my team and kill it. I just personally, I'm going to disable that, whatever. Show player map location. I'm going to turn this on. This basically, if you pull up the map at any time in the game, there will be a little icon showing you where you are. Again, if you want that immersive experience where you want to basically act like you're in the game, turn this off, because if you ever look at a map, it's never going to show you where you specifically are on it. So, that's up to you. Moving on with these areas, I'm not going to touch any of this. This is the tribute downloads, survivor downloads, dinos, items, all that kind of stuff. This is mandatory to click if you want 150 dinos on your map. If you do not click this one specifically, you will not have 150 dinos. I think the most you'll get is 120s on specific maps. If you click this, it forces the max dino level to 150 regardless of the map. This is the maximum difficulty option, so click that, make sure you do. Moving down, this is the big one. Single player settings. We did this in the last series. It was single player adventures. And this time, we're turning it off. We're going extremely hard with this one. And here's why. Single player settings basically boosts a lot of different things. It's definitely beneficial if this is your first time playing the game. I highly recommend it. First time playing the game, put on single player settings. It speeds up the game for you, makes the game a little bit easier, but at the same time too, any tame dinos that you get a massive buff to melee and health. Plus, they get, I think it's like an extra boost too in melee and health once you level them. So there's a lot that goes into it. The problem that I had with it is once you get a very good imprinted dino, whether it's the Saber like Uncle Sam in the last series, or a really good Thylacoleo, you can get the melee up to over 1,000 damage, which is absolutely insane. Like, a Saber should not be able to hit 1,063 like Uncle Sam was hitting in the last series. So it gets a little excessive and it gets a little crazy, especially when you start pumping a lot of levels into the melee stats. So for this one, we're going to go more vanilla. We're going to turn off single player settings. This is just like you would have on the official maps, essentially, like that. Barring, obviously, the taming effectiveness and all that kind of stuff. But turning this off, it's just going to be like if you jumped online, essentially. Moving on. Disable structure placement collision. This just makes it easier to build, honestly. You can clip into the terrain. It just makes your builds a lot cleaner. Once we get to the building process and everything like that, I'll kind of show how this benefits you. Let's put it that way. Multiple platform floors, not going to bother with that. That's if you have a platform dino, so a platform saddle on the Bronto, on the Parasaur, on the Mosasaur. Typically, you can't build multiple floors. It's just one floor, and that's it. Turning this on, you can build as high as you want. Doesn't make a difference. Allow unlimited respecs. I'm going to turn this on. And guys, make sure if you are going to do this setting, you have to turn it on before you start your series. Before you start your series, before you start your game, whatever. It has to be done before you start saving and all that kind of stuff. Because what this does is, traditionally, if you have this off, you cannot use a Mind Wipe Tonic until you've gained a level. So, if you're level 100, you're making saddles for the Tech Cave. You decide to respec and put everything into crafting to get the best saddle you possibly can. The problem is now, you're going to have to wait till level 101 to use your next Mind Wipe Tonic to reset your levels. That's an issue because it's a lot of XP between 100 and 101. So, as long as you have this on, allow unlimited respecs, you are going to be allowed to respec multiple times. No issues, no problems there. These we're not going to bother with. I would recommend if you want very, very tough experience, do these. Disable dino taming and riding, so literally it's just you on the ground and that's it. No dinos involved, nothing. They're just there to kill you, basically. You can't tame them, you can't ride them, nothing. So, very interesting, but not going to bother with that. Moving on. Let's get into the advanced rules on this side, which this side doesn't have much. There's two things specifically right here. I like to do cave building PvE and flyer carry PvE. Cave building PvE will allow you to build in caves. Now, I'm not going to build these mansions and all that kind of stuff inside one of the caves. This is more like, let's put a foundation down with a bed just in case if things go south. That's all I'm pretty much going to do with this, but it gives me that option, essentially. Flyer carry PvE. If you do not have this turned on, if you're trying to tame something via having the Argent grab the Thylacoleo, the Saber, the Parasaur, whatever you're grabbing, and taking it to your trap, without this turned on, you can't do that. You just cannot grab other dinos. So make sure this is clicked if that's kind of something you're going to want to do, which I am. So we're going to do that. Next section here, prevent diseases. Nope, I'm going to keep this on. If you do check this, the game will not have any diseases at all. I do want a vanilla experience, so I'm going to keep that on. This one I've always been confused about. So guys, let me know in the comments down below what I should actually be doing here. This is non-permanent diseases. If checked, diseases will not be permanent, which means player character will then lose diseases when they respawn. So the way I look at this is, if it is checked and I get Mega Rabies, I die from Mega Rabies. Once my character respawns, I do not have Mega Rabies anymore. But if I have it unchecked, my character will still have Mega Rabies? I don't know how that works. So, guys, let me know in the comments down below what I should be doing with this. I'm not 100% sure, so for now, we're going to keep it unchecked, because again, we shouldn't be getting any diseases anytime soon. So, we're not going to worry about that. Let's keep going. This is all PvP stuff, so you don't really have to worry about that, especially on single player. But this is when we get to the nitty-gritty. This is the intervals, the mating intervals, the egg hatch speed, the mature speed, all that kind of stuff that has to do with the mating and imprinting and all that kind of stuff, which is a pain in the So, poop interval, keep it at 1. Don't do anything. Don't touch this. Unless you wanna like screw with someone and turn this down. Lower numbers on this make it more frequent. Higher numbers, less frequent. 1.0 is more than enough. Get a Phiomia for your fertilizer. You're all good. Lay egg interval, I'm going to keep this at 1. If you do drop this a little bit, it does start to, you get excessive with the eggs. It's not the end of the world. 1, they lay eggs frequently. You should be fine. Now, mating interval, I'm going to go the lowest you can physically go on this, which on console is 0.001. This is the lowest. Depending on the dino, typically once they have finished mating, they usually wait about 15-20 seconds until the next mating begins. Now, some other random creatures I've noticed with like the Equus is about 2 minutes until they breed again. The unfortunate part about this is if you want to go lower than that, it doesn't happen. See how it went 0.0? Once we load up this game, it puts it back to default, which is 1. So, on console, guys, 0.001 is the lowest we can physically go. If you're on PC, go into your INI files. You guys can go nuts with this. You can go 0.0000000, You can put as many zeros as you want. You have a little bit more range with this. Egg hatch speed, baby mature speed, and where is it? Baby cuddle interval multiplier. There's a specific equation to kind of get these all balanced and whatnot, okay? I'm going to put up some crazy numbers here. They are going to look excessive to begin with, but once we get to breeding and stuff like that, I'll kind of show you what the times are with this. And everyone always has their own little way of doing this. I forgot my calculator. Let me see. Because there's a specific way. I will show you what Flinger Food does, and I kind of got my numbers from that specifically. For his series right now, that's soloing in the ARK Season 5, is 42, 30, and interval is 0.035, okay? Now, I've checked this. About 15 minutes per cuddle session. Egg hatch speed is about, it takes about 10 minutes, basically. Baby mature speed takes about, I think it's like 19 minutes. I've checked this with a couple of Equises and stuff already, just to kind of figure out these numbers. It's about 19 minutes of breeding, and then, no, I'm sorry. It's about 10 minutes of breeding, 19 minutes of gestation with these settings, to give you an idea. So what I ended up doing was, I actually bumped up, oh god, no. I went double, just to kind of figure out what this would affect. Now, if you double this, 0.035, it ends up being 0.0175. Unfortunately, though, it won't include the 5, so it's 0.017. This drops it down to about 8 to 10 minutes gestation. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to be breeding for 6.5 hours and still not get the one that I want. I want to make this quick. I don't have that kind of time. I'm putting 3 videos out a week for you guys, or at least trying to. I need these numbers to be higher. So, this is what we're going to do. Let me get the calculator out, because math was never my strong suit. And of course, I don't know where the calculator is on my computer. Wonderful. There it is, calculator. Alright, so we were originally at 42, times 3 will do. That puts us at 126. I think we're going to boost that a little bit more, but for now, that's fine. And that would make this 90. Now, 0.017. Alright, let's see how I wanted to do this again. I think I kept it at 0.017, because I think that's... Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm not going to actually touch this one. We'll check this, obviously, further into the series. I'm going to move this up again. That'd be 168. No, I'm sorry. We're going to keep it at 126 for now. Okay, guys, I know this is going to look very, very high, but at the same time, guys, I've tested this kind of with Equises and stuff like that. It's about 90 baby mature speed is about 4 or 5 minutes of the gestation period, and then it's about 2 to 3 minutes per breed. So you're going to be getting an Equus every 6 to 7 minutes. That's comfortable for me. That's good enough for me. Egg hatch speed we'll have to check in the future once we actually have a dino that lays eggs. We'll figure that out. This could be adjusted accordingly. 0.017 is pretty much a cuddle every... I thought it was 3 minutes and change, but we'll have to figure that out once we get into breeding and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, these numbers seem very, very high, guys. I totally get it. But again, like I said, I personally just don't want to be sitting here for 45 minutes waiting for an Equus to come out, a Parasaur to come out, whatever the case may be, and then it doesn't have the stats. And I've literally just wasted 45 minutes of my life. So these numbers are going to be high, and guaranteed they will probably become a little bit higher. We'll see, though. I'll let you guys know what we do. But that's kind of my gist for these. Moving on. We have baby food consumption speed I'm not going to touch. Harvest health you can move. I'm not going to touch this. This is the amount of strikes it takes in order to break the thing. So with a rock, for example, right now it might take 5 hits to break a stone. If I move this up, if I move this to like 2.0, instead of 5 hits, it might take 4 or 3. That's all that is, pretty much. I'm not going to touch that. Resource respawn period. This is the amount of time it takes for resource nodes to actually respawn in. I like to personally have my stuff respawn in a little bit quicker. Here's my reason. When you're building a house and everything, you want the trees to be around the house. You want the landscape and everything like that. You just don't want this desolate land because you've took out 60-something trees in the area and it's just this flat piece of land and there's no nice landscape anymore, that kind of thing. So I want the background with my bases. I want it to look aesthetically pleasing, if you will. So at the same time, I don't want to take down 35 trees in order to make 6 foundations. So this allows the respawn period to kind of pick up the pace, if you will. So instead of, let's just say, every 5 minutes the tree will respawn in, now it's 2.5 minutes. Moving down the list, I'm not going to touch any of the baby imprinting and all that kind of stuff. Day and night cycle is a little interesting. I'm going to put this at 0.5. What this does is this doubles the length of time of the entire day, okay? The day cycle, so let's just say it's 20 minutes to go from 12 a.m. day 1 to 12 a.m. day 2. Doing this, it bumps it up double. So if it's 20, it's now 40 minutes, okay? What I'm going to do here, daytime speed, I'm going to change this to 0.25 because personally, when I'm doing the YouTube videos and everything like that, the last thing I need is for it to turn night because it's very, very, very dark. Guys, on the series also, I'm using HDR. HDR makes this a lot more... Everything's going to look a little more saturated. It's going to look a little more natural. The colors are absolutely beautiful using HDR on this. But the nights are dark. You will see, even looking at the screen right now, it is naturally darker than probably what your screen typically looks like for ARK. That's because of HDR. It's bringing out all these colors, and yeah, it does make it naturally a little darker. So for nighttime specifically, I'm going to change this to 5. Nighttime at this point usually takes about 6-7 minutes to go through. It's not that bad, but at least I can stop my video, wait till the next morning, and then continue. I don't have to wait 45-50 minutes to do my next segment, if you will. Moving on, spoil time. I'm going to make this 2. Here's the reason. In the beginning of the game, obviously, the biggest thing is to get yourself spoil meat and everything like that. So we're going to be splitting the stacks. We're going to be doing all that kind of stuff. And the spoil time will be long. It'll be like 15-20 minutes. But this helps you out when you get to the higher levels later in the game. When you're going for mutton. Mutton traditionally only gets like 6-7 minutes spoil time. So you got to race back to base and get it all cooked or whatever you're going to do with it. With this spoil time, it jumps up to like 10 or 11 minutes or something like that. So it gives you a little more time. Plus, you can totally just throw it into your dino that you have. Because most dinos, actually all dinos, act like a mini fridge, essentially. So it keeps the expectancy of the item. The expiration is a little bit longer, if you will. Moving on, item and corpse decomposition time. I'm not going to adjust these yet. I have to kind of kill some stuff and see how long it stays in the world. I know when you drop an item, it's, if you drop an item just by clicking the left trigger, just to, like, throw it on the ground, I think it's, like, a minute. If you drop it via if you die, like your, death cache and all that kind of stuff, it's 5 minutes, so it's not too bad. I would assume 5 minutes for also, if we kill a dino and the dino had berries on it, or a pick, or something like that. No resource area radius for structures and players. I'm going to change this to 0.5. Again, this goes with my idea that I like a aesthetically pleasing base, which includes the trees and everything in the area. This will allow trees, rocks, and everything to grow closer to the base. So we have that just nice Bob Rossian looking base, if you will, if you guys catch the reference there. I just like the bases to look aesthetically pleasing, so I dropped these down a little bit just to allow the trees to respawn in and everything like that around the base. Lastly here, crap, oh my god. Anyways, crop growth speed and crop decay speed. I'm going to keep this normal. I'm not going to touch this. Yes, if we try to do raw carrots right off the bat, it's going to take a while for them to grow. But, guys, once you get to greenhouse, this process gets so quick. You don't need to touch this, honestly. We're all good here. Now, all the stats, I'm going to keep vanilla. I'm not going to change any of that, so we'll skip that. No need to do that because, again, it's going vanilla as possible with this one. Moving on to miscellaneous settings down here. We have a few things I do want to click, which is this here. Now, this is up to you. If checked, this is an RPG-style pop-up text will appear showing how much damage you've done. If you want the damage numbers, click this. If you don't, unclick it, okay? Lastly, I'm going to allow raid dino feeding. What this does is it allows the Titanosaurs, the big, like, Bronto-looking things that are, like, 20 times the size of them, to actually eat food and survive on the map. Traditionally, on online or anything like that, this is never checked. The reason is if a tribe or an individual gets a Titanosaur, they only have it for 30 minutes, essentially. It will kill itself by starving itself out. Because we're on single player and everything like that, eventually I would love to tame a Titanosaur just to see what it can do, but I want it to actually live. So I'm going to allow it to eat berries and everything like that in order for it to remain on the map. It just stays and survives, if you will. Moving down the list here, all this stuff I'm going to keep the same. This is an interesting one, though. The supply crate and the fishing loot quality. Traditionally, if you're on official, it's 1.0. This is all the loot crate quality. This is the quality from all the supply drops, the caves, all that kind of stuff. On the last series, I had this at 5. Now, my biggest issue with doing it this high was, yeah, we got incredible saddles with it, but at the same time, we got a lot of saddles that we just couldn't make because they were just like, oh yeah, a 200 and something Spino saddle is absolutely awesome, but it does take 32,000 silica pearl to make it. It's just not feasible for a single player series. So I don't think... Oh, no. Did I just click out of this? Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, my God. I thought I just backspace by mistake. I'm going to meet in the middle. I'm going to do 2.5, and we'll see how this goes. Again, I will let you guys know if this gets adjusted or anything like that. But for right now, 2.5 is what we're going to be looking at. Same goes for the fishing quality. I did have this on 5.0 in the last series. We're going to try 2.5 and see what happens. Fuel consumption interval multiplier. This is how the rate of the fuel, the thatch, the spark powder, the gasoline, the wood, whatever burns, the rate that it burns at. 1.16 is just ridiculous for me. 1 is totally fine. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Last but not least, increase platform structure limit. This is basically if you make a... like a taming raft or something like that, you are only allowed 72 structures on your taming raft. That's it. It will not allow you to put anything else. That includes, like, forges, that includes mortar and pestle, that includes everything and anything that you put onto a raft. That includes for the platform bases and stuff like that, too. So, for this, I'm just going to put it to 5 for now. That increases us well beyond the amount we're ever going to put on anything, so we're all pretty good there. Now that we've gone over all the settings, this is kind of diving into the kind of behind the scenes, like how I want to set my series up. This is also just showing you guys kind of my mindset. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part. Now, let's get into what I want to accomplish in this series. So, first of all, this is going to be a cluster series, okay? What a cluster series is we start on the island, because you have to start on the island. It's the original map. You have to start on here. Whether you love the island, you hate the island, you start on the island, damn it. Anyways, but what we're going to do is we are not limited to the island map until we beat the Overseer, essentially. We can travel wherever we want. If I want to go and get a X-Raptor, I can go over to Genesis and get that. I can go over to Scorched Earth for my Jerboa. I can go to Aberration if I'm feeling desperate and I want to get a Reaper. You know what I mean? Like, I can jump to and from whatever map I desire. That's a cluster series. We are not going to do what we did in the last series. The single-player adventure series, we basically did story mode. We jumped on the island, we took out the bosses, we beat the Overseer, then we ascended to Scorched Earth. We kind of followed the way the game was, I'm not going to say meant to be played, but like the order in which everything came out in. We then went over to Scorched Earth, we defeated the Manicore, moved on to Aberration. Plus, we didn't take any dinos with us. We just went vanilla, started over, and yada yada yada. So, and then the idea was to get to Extinction, but unfortunately, we never did in that series. Oh, if you guys don't know, yeah, that's how the series ended, the last one, because I ended up getting the Xbox Series X. So, if you didn't watch that episode, sorry for the spoiler. Yeah, we lost to Rockwell. Anyways, So, like I said, we will be starting on the island, but we will be moving back and forth and here and there and everywhere. And here's why. This game's been out for 5+ years now. I think everyone has all the expansion packs. They have all the DLCs and everything like that. On top of that, I want to travel to the custom arcs. I love Ragnarok. It is one of my favorite maps. It has, actually, it probably is my favorite map, period, out of all of them. It has one of the most beautiful areas in the Highlands, which is like the rolling hills of Scotland. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and I can only imagine how great it's going to look with this HDR setting onto it, because you will see the greens of the grass pop, the blues on the skies pop. Like, it almost looks too saturated, but believe me, once you turn off HDR, you don't want to go back. Like, it is, you want HDR on if you have the correct TV to do this. But I want to also go over to Valguero. I want to get ourselves some Deinonychuses. And I want to go over to Crystal Isles. I want to get the Tropio finally. I also want to get some Crystal Wyverns. Because, guys, guess what? Wyvern breeding is a thing now. Remember? Wyvern breeding is a thing. Not only the crystal ones. We can head over to friggin' it's not Ragnarok. It's Valguero. And get ourselves an Ice Wyvern. We can head over to Ragnarok and get those Wyverns. We can go to Scorched Earth and get those Wyverns. We can get everything and anything. The world is our oyster. That's the idea of the series. That we can just jump and pick and choose where we go next. My overall goal in this series is to defeat every single boss on here. We want to complete the game. I am expecting this series to go 200+ videos because we're going to take our time with this. Yes, in the beginning it's going to be rushed because we're just going to be leveling like crazy, but it's going to be detailed. It's going to take its time. On top of that, Genesis Part 2 comes out in March, I believe. A few months away. We're going to be doing Genesis Part 2 in this. Believe me, there are some dinos in there that I am interested in, like that friggin' Sabercat thing. Like everyone's been talking about this entire time. The damn Sabercat. Everyone wants the Sabercat. What, I don't even know the name of it. You guys can let me know in the comments down below. Shadowmane, that was it. Never mind, don't let me know in the comments down below. It's called the Shadowmane. Like, everyone's going to want that. And I want to get one to move it to another map and see how it does in separate environments. Like, I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too, honestly. Like, the ideas are just flowing through my head with this series, and I am just genuinely so excited. If you guys have any suggestions with, obviously, the settings, if you guys have suggestions on what you would like to see in the series, throw it in the comments down below. Guys, I try to get back to you as frequently as possible, and I will pat myself on the back. I think I'm pretty good with getting back to you guys fairly quickly. So, throw them in the comments, because who knows, you guys might have a great idea that I just haven't thought of yet. But I want to go as in-depth as, in-depth in this series as possible, as detailed. I want to do boss fights, but with random different creatures, and experiment and do all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys are ready for the ride, essentially. But that's the settings. That's kind of my game plan with the series. Let's get into character customization, okay? Alright guys, welcome to the player customization screen. This is where you create your character, basically. Now, what's cool is you can make yourself male, you can make yourself female, you can choose different skin colors, you got hair color, you can go nuts, you can stay traditional, eye color too. Don't worry too guys, there's dyes in the game, so if you don't really get the hair color you want right now, there's dyes that we can make to change hair color, haircuts, all of that. You can also change if you want your head width to be really, really narrow, but then your neck really, really wide. Neck length, though, really, really short. You can go nuts with this. You can make the torso really wide, but then on top of that, you want to make your upper arms lower and your lower arms bigger. You can go absolutely crazy with this, whatever you want to do. Now, if you want the game to be creative for you, just go to this button, this is the randomize button, and it will just randomly make characters. And then if there's a character you really like this wonderful handsome guy right here, all you have to do is press save a preset. And what this will do is this will save all of the preset here, and you can actually load it at a next time whenever you want to do another series, anything like that. But for now, if you decide, you know what, this guy's not for me, just press reset to default and you're all good to go. Now here is my suggestion when it comes to the height of the player and everything like that. Personally, I go a little bit shorter, so I'll usually do about 2 ticks on everything right away. And here is why. As you're building and everything, God forbid you get the wrong snap point when it comes to your doors and whatnot, and your door might just be a little bit lower than it's supposed to be. The snap point might just not really work out the way that you want it, whatever the case may be. What'll end up happening is, if your player is on the default normal size or taller, what'll end up happening is you will get stuck in the doorway, and each time you'll have to crouch in order to walk in and out of your house, which does get very annoying. Or you get the correct snap point, but that could take a little bit longer, and you might just get sick of the frustration. So if you actually make your character a little shorter, you negate that issue altogether. Doesn't matter the snap point, anything like that, you're all good to go. So usually I go pretty much centered like this. We're just gonna make my character pretty vanilla, honestly. Hair color's fine. Blue, I'm gonna make my eye color blue because I have blue eyes. On top of that, brown hair is totally fine too, because again, I have brown hair, so we're gonna keep it as traditional as possible, and we're all good there. I'll keep it vanilla, no big deal. Moving on from this, what I typically like to do is I like to give my guy a little bit of buff, though, if you will. So let's try to get a V with this guy. If you guys don't know, the V is basically from the lat muscle, which is the muscle on the back, behind the armpit, if you will, down to the hip. It creates a V, essentially. So you want your character to look like he's in shape, because guess what? He's going to be doing a lot of running. He's going to be doing a lot of lifting of different things, like trees and all that kind of stuff. So we want to make our character look a little bit more buffed, if you will. So upper arm will do that. That's fine. And then usually upper leg, because this guy's going to be running a little bit too. So you want to give him a little bit of buff. Now, I will suggest when it comes to the size of your character, whether you go tall, short, whatever, don't go too extreme with it, because some of the armors and everything like that don't necessarily fit. It looks weird. So just don't go too crazy tall. Don't make your guy 9 feet tall, but at the same time, don't make your guy 1.5 feet either, because the armor will just look a little wonky, because it's not really made to fit that kind of player. It's made to fit closer to normal heights and whatnot. So it just makes it a little wonky. Don't go too crazy with that. This is the survivor name. Obviously, in the last series, it was Feral SC. In this series, we're doing S2F for start to finish gaming. And then finally, you get to pick which zone you would like to start in. Now, obviously, because this is a new playthrough and everything, we have nothing on the map. The map is completely blank right now, so I can't really give you exact details of where each and every one is. Personally, I like South Zone 1. I like to go just the vanilla as possible. Most people will do this, but anywhere in the South Zone is actually a pretty easy spot to begin with. I just like South Zone 1 in general. It puts you the closest to the red obelisk. On top of that, you do have the West Zones here. West Zones are a little bit tougher because there tends to be a lot of raptors and carnos over there, but you can survive. It's not the hardest thing over there. If you are ever doing the Explorer Note run, where you can get up to level 60, 65 in like 5 minutes, basically, by just following a specific path, you're going to want to start at West Zone 2, basically. That's typically the point where you start your little race, if you will. East Zones are pretty good, too. I've done a couple of playthroughs there on this side, and it's good, but honestly, we always end up going straight to Herbivore Island from there, so it's not too bad. But I will tell you guys, with the East Zones, you do have a lot of raptors, and you can get the occasional T-Rex, so be careful for that. North Zone, do not bother. Just don't do it. You're going to be in the freezing cold, and you will die of hypothermia within the first, really 30 seconds to a minute, unless a wolf comes out of nowhere and kills you and makes it even quicker than that, because that will happen too. But for our series, like I said, we're going to make this as vanilla as possible. We're going to start in South Zone 1, which is the vanilla spot. This is where pretty much everyone started way back in 2015 when this game came out. And I will say probably most YouTubers do start in South Zone 1, honestly. So that's where we're going to begin our series. But guys, that is going to be it for this episode. This was episode 0. This was going over the nitty-gritty. This was going over kind of taking you behind the curtain, behind the scenes of how I set up my series, kind of my thoughts, my ideas, my plans for the series and everything like that. I hope you guys are excited for the series. I am extremely excited.
If you guys have any suggestions, comments, anything like that, leave it down below and I'll get back to you. Like I said before, you guys might have an idea that I never even thought of, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a great idea. We got to do that in this series. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely open to suggestions. I'm open to feedback, criticism, whatever you guys want to put out there. Put it out there. I really, really do appreciate it. Whether it's good comments, bad comments, I appreciate it all, guys. But that is going to be up for this episode. I'll see you guys on the next one when we begin on ARK Survival Evolved. I hope you guys are excited. I'm extremely excited. I'll see you guys on the next one.